Stop scrolling. I need you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because while you were sleeping last night, something happened in the spiritual realm that directly involves you. I'm not speaking metaphorically. I'm not using poetic language to sound mysterious. I'm telling you that your name was specifically mentioned in a conversation that took place at levels most humans will never access in their entire lifetime. And what was said about you, what was decided concerning your immediate future, is going to explain everything you've been feeling these past few weeks. That restlessness, that sense that something massive is approaching. That strange confidence mixed with confusion about why you suddenly feel different than you did just a month ago. Before I go any further, I need you to do something. Write 7777 in the comments right now if you've recently felt like you're being watched by something you cannot see. Like invisible eyes have been studying you, measuring you, observing how you handle pressure when nobody's around to applaud your strength. Drop those numbers if that's been your experience, because what I'm about to reveal will confirm why you've been feeling that way. Your attitude in a recent situation caught the attention of heaven, not the minor angels, not the standard guardians assigned to general protection. I'm talking about the warrior class. The archangels who command entire battalions and only get involved when a human soul demonstrates something so rare, so completely unexpected, that it disrupts normal spiritual protocols. You did something that made Archangel Michael himself request a detailed review of your case file. Runit, and when I tell you what you did, you're going to remember the exact moment. You're going to feel it in your body right now as I describe it, because your spirit already knows. This is true. You faced a situation recently where someone wounded you deeply. This wasn't a minor offense. This was betrayal. This was calculated cruelty. This was injustice so obvious that even strangers would have sided with you if they knew the full story. And in that moment, you had a choice. Every cell in your body was screaming for you to retaliate. Your mind was writing speeches you could deliver to destroy their reputation. Your emotions were generating scenarios where you could make them feel exactly what they made you feel. The anger was justified. The bitterness was earned. So the desire for revenge was completely understandable by every human standard of fairness. But you chose something different, and I need you to understand this wasn't you being weak. This wasn't you being a doormat. This wasn't you lacking self-respect. What you did was strategically devastating in ways you couldn't possibly understand at the time. You chose silence when you had the ammunition to destroy. You chose grace when you had the right to choose violence. You chose to protect someone who didn't protect you. And the moment you made that choice, something extraordinary happened in the spiritual dimension. Your guardian angel, who has been with you since birth, who has documented every moment of your journey, immediately filed what's called an escalation report. This doesn't happen often. Guardian angels handle most situations within their assigned authority. They only escalate to archangel level when they witness a human soul operating at a frequency that shouldn't be possible given current circumstances. Your case got escalated with a priority marker that reads enemy level forgiveness under active attack. Let me explain what that classification means, because this is where it gets fascinating. In the celestial ranking system, human responses to pain fall into predictable categories. Revenge, withdrawal, depression, bitterness. These are standard reactions that don't require special attention because they follow established patterns that have repeated for thousands of years. But there's a rare classification called transcendent response. This is when a soul answers hatred with love, responds to darkness with light, chooses blessing over curse while actively being wounded. This response is so statistically rare that it automatically triggers Archangel level review because it indicates something unusual is happening with that soul. You triggered that classification. When your file reached Archangel Michael's division, he was managing operations that affect entire regions. Battles you cannot see with your physical eyes. Strategic movements that shift spiritual climates over nations. But when he saw your file marked with that priority designation, he did something that reveals just how significant your response was. He cleared his schedule. He requested a full historical review of your case. He wanted to see not just that one moment, but the pattern of your choices over time. And what he found made him call for a direct consultation with the divine council. Now pay attention, because this is where most people's minds start to wander and you miss the most important part. Michael presented your entire history. Every private moment when you chose integrity and nobody was watching. Every time you helped someone who would never be able to repay you. Every occasion when you were exhausted, depleted, running on fumes, and still chose to give instead of take. The pattern he showed them revealed something that heaven finds extremely valuable. You have been operating as a chosen vessel without knowing you were chosen. You weren't trying to impress divine observers. You weren't performing for spiritual credit. You were simply being who you are at your core, even when it cost you everything and gained you nothing. This kind of authentic consistency is what separates ordinary souls from those marked for extraordinary assignments. And then God spoke. I need you to receive this carefully, because these aren't my words decorated with spiritual poetry. This is what was communicated about your specific soul in that review. He said, "This one reminds me why I created humanity." Let that penetrate for a moment. The architect of galaxies, the intelligence behind every atom in existence, looked at your pattern of choices and said you embody the original design. Do you understand the weight of that statement? Angels exist in constant awareness of divine presence. Their obedience is practically inevitable because they operate in direct sight of glory. But you chose correctly while blind. You maintained love, was surrounded by hatred. You demonstrated faith without proof, integrity without reward, grace without any guarantee it mattered. That's what makes human souls unique in all creation. And you've been doing it consistently without recognition, without applause, without anyone telling you it was being documented. But here's what even Michael didn't expect. He had projected normal development timelines for your spiritual maturity. He anticipated you would eventually reach this level of operation, but only after more training, more obvious victories, more confirming signs that would make faith easier. He did not expect you to access warrior-class responses while still in the middle of your darkest season. Because what you did wasn't just morally admirable, it was strategically devastating to forces working against you. Every attack against a chosen one has one primary objective: to corrupt your frequency, to drag you down to operating in darkness, so you step outside divine protection and onto ground where they have legal authority over you. Every betrayal, every injustice, every wound has been designed to make you bitter, angry, vengeful, so you start vibrating at their level. Oh, but when you chose grace, when you responded to their attack with love, you did something in spiritual physics that reversed the entire operation. Negative energy sent toward someone who responds with positive energy doesn't just disappear. It returns to its source, amplified. What they sent to destroy you became destruction returning to them. And you did this without even knowing you were doing it. You just responded from the core of who you are. Michael observed this unfold with something close to astonishment, because you weren't operating from technique or training. This came from your essential nature. You are inherently gracious, fundamentally forgiving, intrinsically good, even when everything around you is darkness. That's not common. That's exceptionally rare, and it qualified you for something that's about to change everything in your life. You've already started noticing the evidence, even if you didn't understand what was causing it. Think about the past few weeks. People who openly worked against you have been experiencing sudden problems. Situations they had under control started falling apart. Things that were working smoothly for them mysteriously stopped. Plans they made against you backfired in ways that seem almost poetic. This isn't coincidence. This isn't regular karma taking its time. This is your new spiritual status creating automatic protection. When God expresses that level of recognition over a soul, the protection around that soul intensifies dramatically. Attacks don't just fail anymore, they reverse. What was meant to harm you becomes harm returning to sender. You've watched this happen and wondered why your enemies keep stumbling. Now you know. There's something else you've been experiencing. Unusual peace despite circumstances that should be crushing you. Moments when logically you should be drowning in anxiety, but instead you feel inexplicably calm. Stability when everything around you is chaos. That peace isn't natural. It's imparted. It's the direct result of elevated attention on your life. When heaven focuses on a soul with this level of intensity, that soul receives supernatural peace that makes no logical sense, and there's more. Clarity has been increasing. Decisions that used to confuse you now seem obvious. You're knowing things you have no logical way of knowing. Intuitive hits that prove accurate. This is because information is being downloaded directly to your consciousness, not in dramatic visions or voices, but in quiet knowing, sudden understanding, wisdom that appears when you need it. Your connection to divine intelligence has been upgraded. Wrong people have been exiting your life. Relationships that drained you ended suddenly. People who were obstacles removed themselves. Doors that were blocking you closed without you having to force anything. This is divine reorganization. Your new status requires a new environment. Everything incompatible with where you're going is being systematically cleared. Don't fight it. Don't try to hold on to what heaven is removing. It's making space for what's coming, and you've been feeling it. That sense that something big is approaching, an anticipation you can't quite explain. A knowing that you're standing on the edge of a significant shift. That's not wishful thinking. That's prophetic awareness. Your spirit is sensing what your mind hasn't comprehended yet. Something is coming, something directly connected to this celestial recognition of who you are. Here's what's been decided about your future. When God expressed his assessment of your soul, it triggered a specific protocol called accelerated fulfillment. Under normal circumstances, chosen ones receive assignments according to standard timelines. Years of preparation before major releases. Gradual increase before substantial blessing. Step-by-step progression toward purpose. But accelerated fulfillment changes everything. It means heaven has decided you've already demonstrated enough. The quality of your character has eliminated the need for extended waiting periods. What you've proven qualifies you for what others would need more time to receive. Practically, this means blessings scheduled for later are being moved forward. Opportunities planned for future seasons are being released now. Doors that weren't supposed to open yet are being unlocked ahead of schedule. You've already started seeing this. Things happening faster than expected. Breakthroughs appearing sooner than anticipated. Movement in areas that had been completely stuck. This will intensify. The acceleration is just beginning. Opposition is being neutralized, not just blocked temporarily, but permanently removed. Enemies are being reassigned. Attacks are being prohibited. The normal resistance that slows most chosen ones has been lifted from your path. You're entering a season where favor follows you into rooms before you arrive, where opportunities pursue you instead of you chasing them, where provision appears before you even articulate the need. This isn't because you earned it through perfect performance. This is because you demonstrated character that qualifies you for protection at the highest level. But understand something crucial. This elevation isn't just for your benefit. You're not being positioned for personal comfort. You're being prepared for impact that extends far beyond your individual life. The grace you demonstrated under pressure is going to flow through you to others. In coming weeks, you're going to encounter people facing exactly what you faced. Standing at the same crossroads where they can choose bitterness or grace. And you're being positioned to show them it's possible, not through preaching, not through religious lectures, but through the natural overflow of who you've become. Your presence will carry a frequency that activates potential in others. Your story will spark recognition in those ready to hear it. Your transformation will serve as evidence for those who doubt transformation is real. Heaven invested this level of attention in you because your elevation enables countless others connected to your sphere of influence. You're becoming a carrier of the very quality that impressed God, and that quality will transmit to everyone who comes close enough to receive it. Let me tell you what was specifically recorded about you in the final assessment. Every soul that reaches Archangel level review receives a classification, a designation that summarizes their core spiritual identity. Your classification is being registered as demonstrated warrior of light. Demonstrated means proven through action, not potential. Many have potential. You proved it under real conditions. Warrior means actively operating in spiritual combat, not passive observation. You're not just receiving truth, you're embodying it and advancing it into darkness. And the dark of light specifies your frequency. You fight from love, grace, and genuine goodness. This is the highest frequency of warfare. You responded to darkness not by becoming dark, but by being more intensely light. That's what made your response devastating and impressively rare. This classification follows you now. It's how you're known in celestial records. It's how angels refer to your case, and it changes how you're handled from this point forward. Demonstrated warriors of light receive priority assignment of resources. Your prayers move to the front of processing. Your needs get addressed before standard cases. Your situation receives attention others don't receive. Not because you're better, but because you've proven trustworthy with elevated responsibility. Heaven invests more in those who demonstrate they can handle it. There's a message that was recorded specifically for you to receive. When your case review concluded, when your classification was registered, when the acceleration protocols were activated, a personal note was added to your file. This doesn't happen for every soul. It's reserved for cases that genuinely impacted celestial observers, cases that will be referenced as examples. Your case received this. Here's what it says. To the chosen one receiving this message, your response to pain has been recorded as evidence that human souls can reach frequencies we didn't expect, while still in physical form. You reminded us that limitations we sometimes perceive in humanity are not design flaws, but results of choices made under pressure. You chose differently. Your file has been marked for special observation, not because you need correction, but because your progress serves as a case study for maximizing potential under adverse conditions. You're being positioned for assignments that match your capability. These aren't punishment. They're privilege. These aren't punishment. You proved you can handle difficulty with G.